Okay, guys, we are live. It's Friday night and it is Merseyside Derby night. We're going to have a lovely chat about obviously the big game at Goodison Park after tomorrow between Everton and Liverpool. We're going to regurgitate the late show against Newcastle the other night. That was unbelievable. 98 minutes. I'm going to get that on a mug. 98 was beautiful. And then we're going to have a little chat about Yellow Melo, or we'll all be Melo in the chat because it's going to be Arthur Melo. And we'll have a chat. And to talk about it is the two legends, as usual. It's Keith at Eaton Ryan on Twitter and Ivan at Ivan Jennings on Twitter. How are you boys? All good?
All right, lads. How's it going? All right.
How are you doing? I'm good.
All ready to rock and roll. Right, guys. We regurgitate again. We just go back 2 days and we'll quick chat. I suppose won't spend too much time in it. But the Newcastle game started again. Sloppy. Let in a leading goal. To be honest, we're lucky with the thing. Your man Isaac had a great chance to make it too. I think his toenail was offside. If that goes in, it's obviously a different game. But this early goal business, we can't afford that tomorrow. But what did you think of the game, Keith, the Newcastle game the other night?
We just seem lethargic, to be honest with you. We seem really, really lethargic. We're absolutely crying out for a fast start. I think we got a fast start. We got a fast start against Palace, really fast start against Palace. Look mustard, and then fell off. But any other match than that, we seem to be really, really slow and lethargic. Not only in the press, but getting the ball around the park, moving it through the thirds, a lot of safe passing, there's a lot of that going on. If I was a betting man looking at Van Dijk, I'd say he's keeping himself right for the World Cup. I hope not. No, it just seems to be, seems to be jumping along there now at 25%, to be honest with you, and he's just making sure he's not doing anything too risky. He's really, it's just listen. I'm not talking about anything that none of us have not seen, to be honest with you, over the last couple of games. The fact that we have conceded the first goal in 8 out of our last 9 matches would indicate that we are not starting fast enough, and or we're not scoring when we're on top at the start of the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We're a little bit predictable. And there is a blueprint for playing against them. We spoke about this the last time we were on. There's a blueprint of playing against us now at the moment, and the blueprint seems to be right now. I do think we're trying different stuff at the moment, which is maybe playing into those hands. I think if we'd have kept Nunez on the field over the last couple of games, we'd have seen a slightly different way in terms of how we're playing. I think we'll get there. Hopefully we haven't done too much damage over the last couple of weeks for the season as a whole. I think we will get there, to be honest with you. The cavalry seems to be coming back. I'm optimistic. I think we'll get there. I still think we're the second best team, over the length of a season, squad-wise in that league at the moment. And I think that will follow through, and I think we'll be all right in terms of, certainly for Champions League qualification. You'd have to be worried about the league at this stage.
Yeah. Even this early 5 games in, and I'm already.
No, it's just the way they're going with the depth of squad that they have, and I think we're kind of going through a little bit of a transition period at the moment, to be honest with you. Yeah. So that's just the way it is. To be honest with you, that's just the way it is.
But the Newcastle game, I mean, Ivan, obviously 98 minutes. You hear all the stuff on Twitter and giving out about, there was 5 minutes added on. But remember, the referee, as we all know in football, when the board goes up saying 5, it's 5 plus.
Minimum.
It's not 5 minutes. Totally. It's 5 minutes
minimum
plus.
Minimum of 5 minutes.
The minimum. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, and the keeper was down for 2 of those minutes, or near enough 2 of those minutes straight afterwards, And
fuck off. Seriously. Fuck off.
Even Alan Shearer was on giving out.
Yeah, but he would do, to be honest with you. Was it Wolves last season did the exact same thing, a huge amount of that, and Origi popped up. And got a late winner into added time off the back of that. So listen, sometimes it works against you, to be honest with you. There was a huge amount of that, far too much for it, to be honest with you. And it does seem to be part of the blueprint, which is disrupt, stop us getting a head start in the match, slow it down, and like Chelsea did it years ago against us, when we were going for the league that time. It now seems to have come full circle where that's the blueprint, certainly at Anfield, disrupt, play through the channels. That inside channel between Gomez and Trent is going to give us chances, 2 to 3 chances per game, and if we're good enough up front, we'll take one of those chances, and that's the blueprint. So to be honest with you, we're playing into that. We're playing into those hands week in, week out, because we're forcing it. and putting needless, stupid balls in top. But I do think the reason we're doing that is that we don't have the control in the middle of the park at the moment without Thiago.
That is exactly what it is for me.
Yeah.
I said it to Ivan before we came on. It's all about the midfield. I think the reason we're struggling is because of our midfield. If you haven't got a proper midfield, if you haven't got a settled midfield, or a midfield that's playing badly, with no energy or no press, your defense is in trouble. I think maybe that's the reason why Van Dijk doesn't look good. I also think Matip there helps Van Dijk, but he's not around. He's back in the squad. And then your front three aren't getting serviced because Trent and Robbo are probably looking at the midfield as well and afraid nearly to go forward half the bleeding time. So I think the midfield's been huge for us. Thiago's a huge loss, of course.
Yeah. And I think the sooner the better. And you can see it with City, okay, Haaland is scoring goals to beat the fun, but he's scoring goals not necessarily in matches where he's going to go ahead and win the match. It's the goals that chipping in from midfield, right? Yeah. The goals, and that's late runs into the box, and that's what opens defenses, particularly when they're playing low block. And we don't have the capability within our midfield to be able to do that. So the sooner the better we move away from a 4-3-3 into a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-1-3. The better, right? Where we've got people running. Like you've seen Elliott get into those positions. You've seen Carvalho over the last couple of games get into those positions where they're almost ghosting in and being in positions whereby they get a chance because the front three are marked out of the game. The sooner, the better we get ourselves into that position. I also think even if we've got a recognised, front man up front, he'll pick up his requisite number of goals from some of those great balls into the box. But we're just not there at the moment. There's no two ways about it. We're not there at the moment in terms of what we're
not firing on all cylinders.
No, I think there's reasons behind that, to be honest with you. But I'm fully 100% convinced that once we get everybody back and we get a run of games with everybody back and the system starting to work, we'll be a force to be reckoned with,
Yeah, no, I think there's a few things. Like there's definitely something missing with the start. Like that's unforgivable. Yeah. And how you can't have a team just going hell for leather like United did against us. It was our trademark for the last couple of years. The injuries aren't helping, obviously. And I think that you made a really good point. Whatever you think of Nunez, like they've been training to have him in the team, right? And that means he's up high, he stretches it. And then with Diaz and Mo very wide, it creates lots of space. But now you've got Bobby dropping into the space. You've nothing in behind. You don't have a Thiago to play any balls in. And it's all a little bit, it's lopsided. So the injuries are absolutely killing us. Absolutely killing us. They really are.
But I think we've continued, to be honest with you. That's why I'm hopeful when Nunez comes back, because when you look at it, it would have been very natural for us to continue to play very narrow, and get Salah closer to the box. He's not. He's continued to stay out wide.
You see, we're not playing narrow enough. We're
going to keep this going. We're going to keep this going until Nunez comes back, right? And then when Nunez slots in, watch this click into gear. Yeah. So I think he should be thrown in tomorrow. To be honest with you, I know we get onto that. We get onto that a little bit now, I think he's tailor made for it. But anyway, yeah. So, but going back to the match the other night. Going back to the match the other night. Another stat I've seen is that in terms of sprints, and presses, we're something like of the first 4 games we're 17th in the league or something. Which is absolutely unfucking heard of, right? So that's either saying we're leggy or we're not confident enough to do it, or we haven't got the right personnel in the right places, or I think Henderson's been carrying a niggle, and I think he's been carrying a knock, and he's just been playing through it, for being perfectly honest with you, the way he looks like he's playing. But that's the drop-off, lads. That is the drop-off, in terms of the intensity. The intensity's not there now at the moment. So,
but you made a good point about the midfield, right? So if the midfield isn't looking good, Trent and Robbo aren't going to be making runs. I think they probably add a lot to our numbers of sprints and kilometers covered, right? But with their burst forward, and if they're thinking, I'm not going to go in there because I'm not sure about him, and it all rolls up like a fake.
There's no confidence in the midfield, and that's why I think Van Dijk looks rattled at times. You know what I mean? It permeates through the whole bleeding team if your midfield isn't operating. It's part of the clutch. It's probably the bearing in a clutch. Without the bearing, you've got no clutch.
Yeah, I think the comment about him hanging on for the World Cup, I'm not sure if that's fair or not. Like something hasn't been right with him. Like you can't gamble a whole season on making the World Cup, right? And even my young lad has been saying he hasn't
It's not a whole season. It's November.
Oh, I know, but like I mean 3 months kind of thing. I mean half a season. Like the goal we conceded against United. Now I accept it was right in the corner, and I accept that you might be backing the best goalkeeper in the world to save them, but he should be getting across. He should be jumping in there and blocking it. Now he did it in the next game. I'm not sure who it was against, where he came across and he cut out the shot. But you're kind of going, like, to me, Van Dijk now looks like, and I hate saying this because he's such a fucking player. It's almost like he's been playing on reputation, where players are going in 50-50s with him, and they're going, do you know, I'm not even going to fucking bother here because he's so fast, he's so big, he's so strong, he's going to get it. Now players are going, hang on a second, I might have a chance here. And they're giving it a go, and they're getting results. So I think there's a bit of reputation that he needs to, he really needs to step up and go, hang on a second, I am the best defender in the world, and this is why, and start fucking cleaning a few people out.
Well, I'll tell you, tomorrow will be a big test for him as well.
He seems to be playing within himself, almost too comfortably within himself, to be honest with you. You've got to ask questions in terms of the motivation why he's playing like that, you know. So, you know, like think of the tackles that he was making over the last couple of years. Like, very rarely did he have to go to ground and slide. Now, when he did, but it was physical. It was literally knocking people off the ball. It looks like he's not even engaging with players now. Do you know what I mean? He's literally, and that's sometimes that's good when you're standing somebody up and you're trying to just see them out to the corner. But he's not even getting shoulders to people. He's not even pushing people out of the way. You're kind of going, that was your strength, you know? Very strange. It is strange. And the question has to be asked. And I hope, you know, like, I actually think in terms of, maybe not necessarily in terms of his you know, in terms of his positional sense, because he's got Trent beside him. Like, Gomez does look like he's got a big kind of chance against them, you know, during a match. However, he's the one player who seems to want to progress, bring the ball into midfield, commit a player, and play the ball really quickly, right? We're not getting it anywhere else in the pitch, by the way. Everything else is very safe and it's very square. So, but if you're going to persist with Trent, and I know there's a couple of questions in there, if you're going to persist with Trent, I don't think you have any alternative but to play Matip, to be honest with you. I don't think you can play Gomez and Trent in the same team. I think it's an absolute fucking recipe for disaster. So, now I'm absolutely cool with Gomez at right and Matip in the middle. I'm okay with Milner at right full and Gomez, but I think Gomez and Trent is just not a combination we can afford at the moment.
Yeah. I think Van Dijk. I think Matip and Van Dijk is the perfect combination, which gives everybody confidence.
Well, I think
I don't know what it does to Gomez after, you know, having a few games in. As soon as Matip's back out, you kind of pull him. I'm not too sure what.
Not having Henderson on the right side of midfield also is a huge thing, because he's the natural kind of drop back there into right full when Trent goes on his little runs, you know.
But we're not going to have that.
Oh, I know.
That's the argument.
Yeah, for a few.
No, we were talking.
Weeks.
We were talking the other night about Ramsey coming in and Trent pushing on, because Trent, I'd love to see a heat map of Trent over the last couple of games, because I'd say a lot of it is in and around the 10, where he's getting forward, kind of just on the far side of the centre circle in the opposition half, you know, and whether that might progress or not, I don't know. I don't think it's on the cards, but we're getting so short of numbers. You wouldn't know what he might need to try.
Tommy Walker has a point there, saying he thinks we're right that a lot of the players could be overcome. I think he's probably talking about Van Dijk could be overconfidence. It could be. I mean, you could say Trent as well being overcome and playing those 60, 90-yard bleeding passes across the pitch. When they work, it's brilliant, but when they don't work, you're caught on the back foot. And, you know, the other team attacked. The other goal, Newcastle the other night, was from a mistake like that. There was still work for the players to do. It wasn't as if he was in on goal from the Trent mistake. I think it was a number of bleeding mistakes. You know what I mean? A catalogue of mistakes. But we seem to be making
and I think
I
think Trent is getting a hard time, Dave, for
I'm not saying it was Trent's total fault. That's what I'm saying. I think there was a lot of work after the Trent mistake.
Oh, totally.
The problem
you could
is
say
it's a catalogue of mistakes.
Yeah, you could say he made the first mistake, and that's absolutely fine. But then there was a mistake in midfield. There was a mistake at centre half. There was a mistake at left full, and then the ball comes across. So, but again, I think people are going, he's not a good defender. He's just not a good defender, and we know he's not as defensively good as some of the others. But in the when we have everybody available and everybody's playing at 100%, we can manage Trent being a very good attacking defender and not a particularly good defender, because Van Dijk's on his game, Henderson's on his game, Matip's on his game, and we'll clean out whatever gap that he leaves there. But the fact that we're at 90% or whatever we're at, we're just getting a bit exposed in some of these areas. You know?
And a lot of the reason for that, lads, is that we're almost back to basketball, football. It almost feels like there's a shot clock on us, right? It's pass. Then it's we have to get the ball into the box with this pass, and we're not coming back out, recycling and going again over the far side, recycling, going again, bringing them out, sucking them in, and looking for the right pass. It does seem to be that it's 3-4 passes across the back, very safe passes that look like a pass into midfield. A long pass over the top to Salah for Salah to do some magic. And that's kind of there's not a huge amount of ingenuity going on here or creativity. It's long balls, cross long balls down the channel, the odd ball into feed outside the box.
There's no
very, very rushed. It's almost like you've got to have a shot on target within 5 seconds, lads, once we start turning it through. Which wasn't us. It certainly wasn't us when we had the likes of Wijnaldum in midfield where we could continuously recycle.
Just drawing teams out, to
get caught in midfield.
Yeah. We're not drawing teams out. And you could see it against United. It was literally 2 or 3 passes, and then you're trying to burst forward. Like, have 10 passes, have 15 passes. Take the sting out of the game. Take the noise out of the crowd, and look for the opposition to drop off somewhere where you can find a gap or find a hole. But you're absolutely right. And we talked about basketball, football last year, and we used to be very good at basketball, football. We're not so good at basketball, football now.
But the intensity,
we were good at basketball, football when we were scoring 4 and conceding 3, but sometimes other teams were scoring 4 and we were conceding 3. So, it was a coin toss for this matches, and that's all well and good in knockout football when you're going for cups and stuff, but you can't be playing football like that in the league, because you're going to, over 38 games, you're going to lose your fair share, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. You can't do it, So we've an issue in midfield in terms of our confidence on the ball, in terms of being able to recycle, right? And being able to turn into a position and play through the lines.
There's no intensity in midfield.
But even in possession of the ball, it's all very safe. Nobody wants to lose full possession. Nobody wants to make a mistake, So it's all side balls. It's back to that, So it's back to the goalkeeper. It's a side ball back into that. There's nobody really getting their head up and trying something down, something creative. So. And I think, to be honest with you, it's just that we don't have the personnel in there now at the moment. Best one in the world. That's not Fabinho's game. It's not really Henderson's game. And when you don't have Thiago in there, maybe Arthur is the guy who's going to come in and help us get some of that back into the match, back into the game.
Yeah. Well, Arthur, I think someone added something in there earlier talking about Arthur. Is he available for tomorrow's clearance? His international clearance did not come through, but he will hopefully be available for Napoli next week and further on. We will go on to Arthur Melo. We'll mellow down the chat and have a little chat about the Brazilian midfielder which Liverpool signed. He's 26. He's 22 international caps, 1 goal for Brazil's senior team. He's played 2 seasons at Barca, in and out of the team. He came on 15 minutes in the 4-0 famous semi-final win by Liverpool at Anfield. So he knows what an atmosphere is like at Anfield. And, of course, he's played 2 seasons. I think 44 games over 2 seasons at Juve. He's had a few injuries.
But I didn't know he had played that many games, Dave, actually.
No, that's what I'm saying. He hasn't actually. Allegri and a few managers just didn't like his style, didn't fit the style of the team, and he's been on the bench. And sometimes he hasn't even made the bench for some of the teams, frozen out type of team. So I think he's at the right age. I mean, if he can settle down, we could get another gem here. And there's an option to buy for 37.5.
I read that today where you posted. Yeah. I thought it was just a loan only, but I see that there is the option to buy him.
So I think this could potentially. Listen, it's a no risk. It's a low risk, basically. 4.5 million loan fee, low risk, low wages. I think this could work, Keith. What do you think?
No, I think it's a gamble, to be honest with you, no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah, but it's a risk. Yeah. It's a low risk, though.
No, but it's not low risk when we've got a serious problem in the middle of the park. So it's not that low risk.
Well, that's
true. It doesn't work out. He gets injured
as well.
Yeah. He gets injured, and then it's a massive risk, to be honest with you. So.
Well, Keith, you weren't on the other night. What? Yeah, but what would you have done? Would you have bought some? Would you have splashed for this?
I'll tell you what I would have done. I'll tell you what I would have done, lads. Once we've realised that Tuchemeni wasn't fucking happening, I think we should have been on a rower, and we should have been. And the only thing that's really forced this, lads, and let's be crystal clear, the only thing that's forced this is Henderson's injury. Otherwise, Klopp had kind of gone, and he's done this. He's done this. He's got his players. He's got his players. He's got his players. That's his number one choice. I want him, and if I don't get him, well, then I'll work with what I have, right? Because I'm not really interested in anybody else. That's the way he is. And we'd have to think that Bellingham has to be done, right? There has to be, there or thereabouts, to be honest with you. And he's gone, right, we're going to nurse through this season because I've got Bellingham coming in the summer, and I'm okay with that. And that's what he said. And then we've got an injury the other night to Henderson. He's gone, right, fuck it. We're going to have to do something here. And they've gone through the list. You're right. They've gone through the list, and I'm sure they've tried a couple of people, and that's the one that's made sense. Now, did they have a look and have a kind of a last chance saloon list in terms of if this happens and we have to go there? I'm absolutely sure they had a little bit of a backup list, and he was in that backup list. So he's not knee jerk, right? He's not knee jerk. But
you don't think it's stopgap?
No, I think he is a stopgap, to be honest with you. Listen, I think if he performs very well at that money for a central midfielder, with that pedigree at 26 years of age, he's an absolute steal. But it's still a gamble. No matter what way you look at it, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. It's not a gamble from a commercial perspective. It's absolutely not a gamble from a commercial perspective, but it is a gamble from a season perspective in terms of where we are now at the moment. So listen, to be honest with you, like Barcelona have signed him. Somebody obviously saw him at some stage and saw something in him. I've seen videos of him, right? I've seen some stuff on him, to be honest with you. He looks to be a combative midfielder. He can pick out a pass. He looks to be a kind of a continuity player in that he can lay a pass off. He can retain possession of the football. He's good under pressure. Whether he's good enough under pressure at the Premier League needs to be seen, but he does look like he can play a similar role to Thiago. Will he be as good as Thiago? I don't think he will be as good as Thiago.
No, it's Thiago part number 2, isn't he?
He can play a similar role. So listen, I just think it's a bit of a gamble, but I think it's I'm actually excited, to be honest with you. I'm excited to see what he can bring to the team. So
yeah, it is always though, Dave, as you said. Do you know what I mean? So 4 million's fuck all, right? So if he works out, brilliant. If he doesn't, well, hopefully
that's what I meant. Sorry, that's what I meant. But I can understand Keith in saying, why gamble when you're in such a situation in midfield? You shouldn't really be. You can gamble when everybody's fit.
But what's the alternative? Like, what else could you have done? What else? What could you have done? There's nothing.
I think if we've recognised that we need a central midfielder, and we've recognised that Tchouaméni was the number 1 choice for us in terms of that particular position,
we should have went for somebody else.
We should have had a number 2. Maybe we could have had a number 2. And listen, maybe the number 2 is not out there.
Maybe he did. He wasn't available either.
There's nobody out there. But listen, there are midfielders out there now, who would have been very interested in coming to Liverpool, who probably could have gone in and done a job. Even players within the Premier League who could have come in, know the league, and done a job if we'd splashed the cash. So this is costing us fuck all, to be honest with you, And what it does, it keeps all the money in the coffers for Jude Bellingham next year.
Big Bellingham signing next summer. Or maybe do the deal in January to get him in summer,
I'd say. Quite cynical, or it might just sound quite
it is. It is. Yeah. It's so...
I think they'll have to have that deal signed and done by January, even if he doesn't come in January, because you have the likes of Madrid sniffing around,
I think you'll hear it, to be honest with you. Listen, and the other thing about it is that, we keep fucking shitting our pants, to be honest with you, and stinking the fields up until Christmas, and we look like we're in 6th or 7th position, chasing Champions League, and Jude's kind of going,
pull the trigger.
You know what?
Do we want
chance of Champions League here now? But so listen, it's kind of it just feels a little bit like where we were a couple of seasons ago. It just feels like
Kabak and Davies type transfer.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like that.
For fuck's sake. Hopefully he won't be down in the dungeon where Davies was. The shackles are still fucking dry. For fuck's sake. Look, listen, guys. I'm happy enough. As Keith says, I want to see him. I want to see him on the pitch. I can't say too much about him until we actually see him kick a ball, and we can't judge him. He hasn't played a huge amount of football in 4 years, but let's give him a chance. Let's get behind him and see what happens. But he's 100%. Not available for the Merseyside derby tomorrow, guys. We're going to get on to the big one tomorrow, 12:30, Goodison Park. Everton, who have 3 draws, 2 losses, so they've only got 3 points on the board. They haven't even won a game in 5. We're not hugely greater than them. I mean, we've won 2, we've drawn 2, we've lost 1. We've 8 points, but it's a huge game tomorrow. And I think the midfield has got to be right in every game. But it's going to be a combative game. This is going to be like the Newcastle wasting time game. This is going to be a Pickford fucking acting the bollocks game. This is going to be
horrible
to watch. Unless if we can get an early goal or 2 and Newcastle, Everton have to come out. If they score, they're just going to bleed and shut up shop. It's going to be a shit show. So what would you do tomorrow, guys? Keith, what 11 would you play? I think the midfield's huge. Got to get the midfield right tomorrow. We're fucked.
It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a really tough one, to be honest with you. I think Elliott has to start. Fabinho has to start, and then
it's the number 3 is the hard one to pick.
Yeah.
I had Jones in, and I'm saying it to Ivan, but whether he's match fit, I don't know. Milner
I
from
think,
start.
I think Milner's probably going to start, to be honest with you.
Well, there you go.
I think Milner's going to start. So I don't see anybody else. I don't see anybody else stepping into that unless he changes the system, to be honest with you.
But give me your 11. Give me your 11.
So listen, if he brings in Nunez and fully expects us to dominate.
I'm surprised Nunez starts.
He's made a couple of decent signings in midfield, to be honest with you. Guy coming back in, so he will be very combative in midfield and get around the place. He probably has to go 3 in midfield. So I don't see how he doesn't start with Milner, Fabinho, and then he probably has to start Elliott as well, to be honest with you. I would not throw Jones into that match at all, to be honest with you.
Be on the bench anyway.
Well, yeah, the back
four. Would you keep Trent and Robbo in there with Gomez and Van Dijk? Are you going to switch it up with Matip and maybe?
No, I think Matip will probably come in for Napoli away, if I'm being honest. So that's what I was thinking today. He may start the way he is. The other alternative is that he just goes Fab and Millie as a 2, and then goes a 3, and then plays Nunez up front and really kind of shapes stuff around the place. That's the only other option he might try and take a look at, to be honest with you.
What's your 3 there in behind Nunez, Keith?
So in behind Nunez, so I would go Elliott, Salah, Diaz, Nunez, and I'd have.
You're gonna play Nunez up on his own?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I
just think you're throwing him into the cauldron there, Nunez. Do you not think?
No,
Bobby's
I do not.
Well.
I think he's. I think. Listen, that's a once-off. To be honest with you, we've got to expect that's a once-off. He's chomping at the bit. I think it's perfect for him. I think it's a perfect game for him. To be honest with you, absolutely perfect. And I would throw him in. I would absolutely throw him in. But listen, that's just me. I think he'd absolutely flourish.
Give me your 11. Give me your 11. You Robertson and Trent, Matip or Gomez, Van Dijk.
Yeah, I'd go Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent. I would play a. Well, listen, maybe won't start off that, right? We mightn't start off that. We might start off with our
pick the fucking 11, will you? For fuck's sake.
No. I'm just saying that we if we're doing very well and we're chasing the game and we look like we're going to win the game, I can see us reversing to a 4-2-3-1 at some stage, right? However, he may start off with Milner, Fabinho, Elliott, Diaz, Salah, and I would still throw Nunez in.
Ivan?
Everything
but Nunez, and it'll be Bobby. So there's not.
I don't think there's going to be any time for Bobby. I think it's going to be nullified completely.
There's not a rashest chance he's going to start Nunez tomorrow.
I'd be surprised if he does. I really
for 2 reasons. One, because of the game that it is, and 2, I think he was bitterly disappointed with him getting sent off, and I think he's just going to go, you're not getting a chance. He's just not going to play him. The other thing I'd say is at some point Carvalho needs a start. He really does, because he's played that well.
Carvalho in?
No, I'm not saying that, but at some point he does, and maybe tomorrow he does, but I don't think he will. I think it picks itself. It's the same team, and it's Milner in midfield with Elliott and Fab. Guaranteed that's the starting line. There's no way he starts.
So it's the same. Way. You're going for me.
Can someone just record that, please? That's guaranteed there by Ivan. Can somebody just take a note of that?
Jot it down somewhere.
Guaranteed from Ivan.
I'll do a clip of this later. I'll do a clip of it.
Anyway. I can't. Based on my world of football knowledge, I can't see him pick it. I can't see him going from it. I'm just trying to think the way he picks those teams. I can see it, like, let's say tomorrow was Leicester, or tomorrow was Southampton, or Bournemouth again. Possibly Nunez, possibly Carvalho, possibly Curtis, for sure. Fucking Derby away. Possibly Simicas. The Derby away after Thursday or Wednesday night. No, I think he'll be conservative.
Give us you're sticking with the 11 that started against Newcastle, except Milner and the 5th. Is that what you're saying?
Henderson's injured.
Yeah. Right. I'm sort of easing towards that as well. I actually thought Simicas had a chance, but he'd probably play against Napoli. You know what I mean? Matip has a shout for Gomez. I really do think it's just match fitness though. Coming into a big game like that, rough and tumble, tough game.
I think Napoli's easier for Matip.
That's what I mean.
The game is going to be,
That's what I mean.
Slower. Yeah. I don't see him taking Gomez out. I think he'll go conservative and he'll go with his trusted 11 or his trusted soldiers. But I'd love him to come in and say, I'm going to move Salah into the middle and put Carvalho on the right, and just to see what it is. But he'll go with Bobby. He'll go with Bobby. He just will. He trusts him, and he's playing really, really well.
And there's a chance Jota might make the bench as well. So I mean, that's a great option to have.
I think that's a great
15-20.
But I think even just in terms of the shape, and to Keith's point that he said at the start of the program, we've missed the number 9. And if we've a choice now with Jota and Nunez coming in, that's brilliant, because we've been playing so wide with Diaz and Salah, and not having a focal point in the middle. We've really missed it, and to have the two of those boys come in,
that's why I'm saying to you is that he's consistently stayed with that to set that up. So it almost feels like it's a step backwards if we don't start Nunez tomorrow. It almost feels like, what have we been doing over the last 3 weeks, trying to play to a system to get a number 9 in, and attacking on the shoulder number 9, playing that system, and then the first option we get then to bring him back in, we wait till the next game. So that's the only reason why I'm kind of going.
Yeah, but I think that's a fair point. But I just think there's other things at play. So what if he gets sent off tomorrow? I think this is all. No, seriously. No, come on.
His fucking career.
But you can't.
Listen, Gerrard played on the edge in these matches every time. You still put him in.
But this
played on the edge against United. You still put a first name on the street. You don't.
So he gets sent off.
Not play someone over the fact that he got sent off. And
Twitter was on fire with him after he scored the goal, telling the Newcastle team to fuck off. Right? It's just set up for him to get another red card. It just is. I would just say, just diffuse this whole game here now. Win the game without you want the minimum amount of noise here. If he got sent off tomorrow, fuck's sake, lads.
It'd be fucking end of the world.
I think playing him tomorrow is high risk.
Yeah,
high risk.
Two yellows is only one game, lads. So as long as it doesn't headbutt.
No, it is high risk, and those shithouses Everton, as you would be, are going to be up his arse, and you're going to be pinching him, you're going to be pulling his.
I think we need to inform Stella Maris. We need to tell Stella Maris about Keith's whole approach here to yellow cards and disciplines.
I'm on the assistant coach.
You don't have to tell them. This goes worldwide. This podcast, they already fucking know.
Don't call it. That's another thing. That's another thing that's boiling my piss, by the way, lads, is is the lack of fucking gamesmanship from our perspective. Like, when you look, I'm going to jump back into it. There's a couple of instances that are going to piss me off now about that match. 2 minutes into the match, 3 minutes into the match against Newcastle. Dan Bourne, I think it was Dan Bourne, clearly pulls.
He played very well, actually.
Yeah, clearly pulls his jersey. And what does Salah do? Fucking just keeps running, doesn't makes nothing of it. He should just throw himself on the ground. It's an automatic yellow card. Harvey Elliott is walking across the box, clearly gets clipped, right? Does his absolute best to stay on his feet, right? Where everybody else we're playing is fucking diving all over the place. We need to get a bit of shithousery back into how we play football, lads. We really do, right? And that's clearing lads out in midfield, not letting them play head-up football, getting lads booked. All that shit needs to come back into play. And I know it's not, kosher.
It's about pure football, Keith. We are a pure football team. We don't do things like that.
I think I think there's a bit of that, right? Like, Keith, you're totally right. And like things like playing down the clock, taking a tap in the penalty box. But there's other little things that, as someone who's followed football for 40 years and watched teams in the 80s and 90s, I'm just not comfortable with lads just going down to get a free kick.
No, I'm not talking about going down. I'm talking about if you get your jersey pulled when you're walking.
He's legitimately going down. That's what he
means. And he has a very good chance. You should be doing all that now to make sure the referee is seeing it. If you're cutting across the box and you feel contact, and you've got to play through 5 or 6 players, I do think you feel you should be going down, right? And and let VAR makes a decision, because everybody else is doing it, and I just think.
Yeah, everyone else doing it does make it all. I'd love Salah in those instances to get his jersey pulled and to trip. Like I watched a clip of Harvey Elliott there today on Twitter, 2.5 minutes of him where he's getting kicked and knocked down, and he bounces back up and he gets on. That's kind of what you want to see. Do you know what I mean? Getting those. I know everyone's doing it, but I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm a purist, as you said, Dave.
Yeah, no. It is.
When we won the league,
the dark arts, is that what you call it? The dark arts.
The dark
arts. When we won the league, we did a lot of that, lads. If you look back in that season, we did a lot of that stuff, and it got us places.
So tomorrow, I presume we're all going for the win tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah. 3-1.
I don't think we'll be beaten. I wouldn't be hugely surprised if it ends up being a draw, but I don't think we'll be beaten.
Again? We've 8 draws.
Listen, I think it's going to be a horrible game, to be honest with you.
Horrible.
It's going to be very stop-start. It's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a huge amount of chances, a huge amount of opportunities, to be honest with you. They could get something scabby. I think we'll have to work very hard for what we get. Yeah. I think we're going to have to work very hard for what we get. 2-1, maybe, or maybe a 1-0 with something late in the game, maybe a 2-0. But I can also see a 1-1.
This will literally be a fucking horrible watch. Look, I don't mind if it's a horrible watch if we win the game. But we've had 8 draws. We've had 8 draws, 2 wins in the last 10 at Goodison. It's a real draw. It's like literally more draws than Picasso. I mean, it's really, that's the type of ground it is. It's just draw city, and we need a win tomorrow. I think we need a win. Another draw is useless to us. It means nothing. A draw is nearly as fucking. You might as well lose the fucking game and go for it. A draw is useless. So
yeah, no, I agree.
I mean,
we need a win.
Everton haven't even won a game. They've drawn 2. They've lost 2, drew 3. So they are a bit of a draw specialist.
I think if we'd been playing that Everton side before, I think they bought fairly well towards the tail end of the transfer window. I think they give themselves a little bit more, to be honest with you, and it's a little bit more difficult to predict with the players they brought in, to be honest with you. Like on their day, the likes of Cody or Tchaikovsky can really kind of throw their lives in front of the match. Yeah. And Gordon can be a real star for them, to be honest with you. So, like, I do think they're a little bit stronger than how they've been over the last couple of weeks. I think they'll give us more of a game. I don't think they're going to come out to play. I think they're going to be quite, resolute, competitive, horrible, sit in. But listen, it's like any time. It's down to us to take our chances. If we take our chances, we'll probably still create 15, 16, 17 chances, no matter what we do. It's a matter of getting these on target, and then, good quality.
Being clinical. We got to be clinical. But I also think, Keith, it's about to start. I mean, you can't start bleeding sloppy in a derby. You've got to take, you've got to force the tempo. You've got to want the ball. You know what I mean? I don't think there'd be great passing triangles and lovely, little silhouettes and ballerina silhouettes on the corner flag tomorrow, because it'll be hustle bustle. It'll be a Sunday match in the old Oscar Traynor fucking league. You know, that type of way.
Oh yeah.
Like, it won't be pretty. It will not be pretty. I'm going 2-1 the Reds. I'm confident enough with the players coming back as well. Maybe someone off the bench to get a winner. If Nunez doesn't start,
maybe Nunez off the bench. So I'm fine with Nunez off the bench for a winner, but I don't see him starting. LJ's doing wonders here for poor El Nunez's career.
I'll give you a shout about 11:30. I'll give you a shout 11:30 tomorrow morning, Ivan.
I'm going to clip this. Don't worry. This is going on Twitter later for a clip. This is going on clip, baby. Right, guys.
Talk to you later, lads.
We leave it there. Keith, Ivan, it's been great. Liverpool to beat Everton tomorrow. Talk soon. Stay safe. Hit the like, hit the share. You'll never walk alone. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Take care.